The bourgeois statesmen of Europe speak much about the Indian threat, of the Sikh Empire and its barbaric Maharaja. They weaponize xenophobia, racism, and religiosity to craft an enemy, a new Napoleon with whom they justify their imperial expansion. The Punjabi Raj has already conquered India and liberated Indonesia. If we don't stop them soon, they will come for Africa, for Arabia, for Indochina, and then for Europe itself. All of these claims are lies. India is not a theocracy, not barbaric, and certainly not united. Punjab, the hegemon of India, is a transitionary state, as Marx described in Das Kapital, a state between feudalism and capitalism, rapidly modernizing in urban sectors, yet currently without the access to capital, goods, and credit instruments that allow for mass industrialization. This is not to say that Punjabi Maharaja is a medieval lord. He commands a modern state apparatus of appointed intellectuals equal to Napoleon's bureaucracy, governing the massive subcontinent of India with a fusion of native and European philosophy. But he is also not the emperor of a united state. The East India Company still controls vast swaths of land, while minor princely states make up nearly one-third the Maharaja's military. Even in official Punjabi territory, the Ranjit dynasty's word is not always law. Landlords who gained their entitlements from the wars of conquest effectively control the ex-British presidencies, while semi-feudal fiefdoms dominate Balochistan. Every decade brings a new civil war between the archaic, rural, and modernizing urban sectors. India today is where Britain was after the Glorious Revolution. After surviving 2 attempts by the Germanic nations to cut them down to size and a massive internal revolt, the political scene has become dominated by the intellectuals, the officers, and the small number of bourgeoisie. The new focus on the Punjabi state on direct industrial intervention will certainly push their economy over the edge into capitalism. If the subcontinent can secure peace for 5 years, I expect a near doubling of industrial productivity as cheap goods will flood the open North German market. However, peace will be difficult to secure. Another foreign coalition is only a matter of time unless the speeches of European statesmen change. An unlikely thought. Worse, without a concerted campaign to introduce an elective body, with possibly the willing abdication of state power by the Maharaja, the landowners will most certainly rise again and start another civil war. If I were the chief advisor of the state of Punjab, I would direct the monarch to continue his patronage of local working unions, specifically by opening the franchise to all and ending child labor, alongside the institution of universal education and massive subsidies for universities to bind the disparate states of India into one union. Until the nation of India is united, the state of India will not have achieved capitalism and thus will not be ready for communism. The introduction of On the State of Punjab, the final work of Friedrich Engels, published in Europe 1893, in India 1894, translated into English by Dat Cat in 2022. Hey everybody, it's PartyElite. Welcome back to our Sikh Empire run in Victoria 3. I am extremely excited for today's episode, folks, because at the end of the previous session, we were able to pass interventionism, and as a result of that, today we're going to see a massive second industrial revolution in the Indian subcontinent. I would say the first wave was when we industrialized the northern states over here, got our coal mines, our iron mines, our steel mills, all that good stuff, but this second wave of the industrial revolution is going to encompass a much larger part of the Indian subcontinent since we control so much more of it now, and it's also going to include a much larger variety of industry types, all thanks to our massive investment pool, and of course, yes, interventionism. As a result of this new policy, we are able to use this investment pool for so many more industry types now, and that's exactly why I was holding off on using that money until we pass that new policy. Previously, we were stuck with just, agriculture, plantations, ranches, all that good stuff, and that did help, sure, but now we can invest this money into manufacturing, into mines, pretty much anything that isn't barracks, government admin buildings, and universities, we've pretty much got covered. And what's more, not only are we able to invest into all of these things, but we're also sourcing the investment pool from all of these things, and that is why you're seeing the growth rate at a $250,000 per week. This is absolutely huge. We're going to actively have to work very hard to drain this investment pool and keep it occupied, which is extremely exciting for the future of this glorious nation. Now, not only are we going to focus on the industrialization of the Indian subcontinent, but we're also going to focus on the enlightenment of the Indian subcontinent. We really want to focus a little bit on our literacy rates over here. We're going to do some work on that front. We really want to push our tech rates a lot further. We can already do quite a bit more with regards to the rate at which we unlock new technologies. We don't have to wait 5 years for trenchworks or for countless other technologies. We have a innovation cap that is higher than our current generation, as you can see right over here. So we're definitely going to focus on this a little bit, but beyond that as well, I want to raise our literacy rates further so this innovation cap goes higher and higher, and by building more universities, we can take further advantage of our actual potential. A very exciting session up ahead as we prepare for some massive moves against our nemesis, Great Britain, as well, of course. In fact, I'm almost tempted to make some aggressive moves right at the beginning of this session, but before we get into that, I do want to focus a little bit on internal affairs and just try and get some things sort of set up so that we don't have to get constantly distracted by, again, internal affairs. Now, before we even get into that, though, I just want to address a few comments I've been seeing lately with regards to government administration buildings and why I've been pursuing them so, voraciously, I suppose we could say. Now, the thing about government administration buildings is not only do they generate bureaucracy, which, yes, we have plenty of right now, but don't worry, we're going to be using more of that in just a moment's time, but beyond that, they generate taxation capacity. If we take a look at North Bengal over here, you're going to see that our taxation capacity is causing a bit of an issue with tax collection. And there are a few ways to generate more taxation capacity, but the prime among them is through your government administration buildings and the production methods they use. So if we take a look at the numbers that this tooltip provides, you'll see that our current taxation capacity usage is 3048.2, and that is derived from the population of the state. As you can see, every 10k pops is 1 point in taxation capacity usage, and because pretty much every state in the Indian subcontinent has a very large population, you're almost always not going to have enough of a bureaucratic presence to properly manage all of that, and that's what taxation capacity represents. So you can see up over here in the green, we have this number 991.8, which is derived from, yes, our technologies such as centralization and central archives, or perhaps our policies such as appointed bureaucrats, but by and large, it's coming from the government administration buildings in North Bengal, as you can see, that plus 643.5 from standardized filing systems. That's the production method that they're using. So basically what you want to try and do is you want to try and close the gap between these two numbers. The closer they are, the smaller this percentage is, and this percentage is a negative to how much tax you're collecting. So I just wanted to be clear because it seems as though there's some confusion across a handful of comments from a few different folks. So I just want to be very clear on why I'm pursuing the government admin building, again, so actively. It's making such a big difference, and you'll be able to see, because we are building, 7 upgrades to the government admin buildings in North Bengal, and they'll be done in just 4 weeks' time. We can actually take a look at this to show just how much of a difference it makes to the negative over here, and also if we go to our budget screen and to our states screen, we'll see a very big difference to the North Bengal tax collection over here as well, just with those 7 having been completed and then fully staffed as well, of course, because they don't actually generate anything unless they've been staffed. So to kick today's session off, I just want to take a look at this very quickly, just to make sure we're all on the same page and we all understand why I'm doing these government admin buildings. This is a huge part of playing as the Sikh Empire. You want to make sure you're making as much money as possible through your population and through your taxation, because you have such a great opportunity. You don't want to throw it all out to waste. All right, so we're going to see these government admin buildings get completed. There you go. So if we head on over to North Bengal, you'll see the tax collection percentage over here change, because as those government admin buildings again get fully staffed, this negative is going to get smaller, and that means if we head on over to the budget tab and to the states tab over here, we're going to see North Bengal, which was previously at around 25k. This is going to climb higher and higher again as those buildings get staffed more and more. So again, building those government admin buildings will allow you to collect more taxes. It'll reduce the waste that's going on a per state level, and that's why I've been chasing those things. Now, to be fair, one mistake I have been making, perhaps is I've been focusing too much on just a few states. Like I've been focusing so much on Punjab and North Bengal, which granted have very large populations to tax, but I could also focus perhaps on, Madras has a decent sized population, larger in fact than Punjab. Oh no, close enough though. I believe Bombay has a fairly large population too. Mysore is kind of middling. But point being, I should spread the love, because on top of everything else, of course, there is the infrastructure strain that we have to consider. Though, as you can see in Punjab, as an example, this negative was close to like 70% when we started. I think 80% when we started this campaign, but now we've managed to pretty much halve that penalty, and we're making so much money off of taxes. Anyway, I've belabored that point too much. I just wanted to explain what was going on over there, and with that done, let's go ahead and start making some huge changes. As you can see, we're making a ton of money, and I'm not very concerned about wealth generation. Our construction sector is going to cover everything from steel mills to logging camps to, my goodness, everything minus, like I said earlier, government admin, universities, and all that good stuff. So we can actually go ahead and take some of the burden off of our population even further than we already have. I'm actually going to take the risk here and bring taxation levels all the way down and collect a lot less money as a result, but hopefully just empower our people a bit more. Again, this is part and parcel with higher literacy rates, because this should help people become a little bit wealthier, and wealth and literacy rates are at least partly tied together. So this should help on that front. Beyond that as well, I'm going to actually get rid of our consumption taxes on both services and opium, and the reason why I'm doing that is because now, again, our people are able to save some money. Though it doesn't impact the price of those goods and services directly, it does impact how much money the populace actually has to spend when acquiring those goods and services, right? So that should help a fair bit, and we're still in the green up over here. I just want to point out we are making a ton of money, and beyond that, I actually want to use the saved up authority to pass a few decrees as well. Our promote social mobility, as you can see, will give us additional education access, and if we just go ahead and drop that in North Bengal and perhaps South Bengal as well, I believe they have quite a large population. We can go to Punjab too, and that should cover some of our most, I think, populous states with that additional education access, which should again help with literacy. Beyond that as well, though, we should take a look, of course, at our institutions, because we do have enough surplus bureaucracy, I believe, to get this higher level of the education institution, and this will further add to education access. Again, I don't quite care about assimilation, but you can see from level 1 to level 2, it doubles education access, and again, it'll take some time, almost a year, just short of a year, 52 weeks to a year, right? So just short of a year to actually get that active, but it's going to make such a big difference in just accelerating the rate of our research and, how people change the type of pop that they are as well, and that should hopefully help change some of this stuff up too. But that's not all we want to do from a political standpoint, right? We also want to take a look at what next law we want to pass. And on that front, I'm actually tempted to chase after something under our internal security situation. I think if we get the secret police, we might actually have a pretty big advantage as far as reducing radicalism from political movements. But beyond that as well, we're going to see a big difference in the happiness of the armed forces. This will actually get them to a very high level of loyalty, and then we won't have to worry about chasing after the high of their trait, that loyalty trait that I've been wanting for so very long. Beyond that as well, of course, there are additional benefits, so I'm very tempted to actually get the secret police going, and then after that we can investigate things like propertied women to try and get them into the workforce a little bit, or perhaps we hold off on that and wait until we can actually get women in the workplace as soon as we unlock feminism, right? So that's why I'm kind of hesitant to dive in here, because I don't want to chase after propertied women and then immediately afterwards go, oh, we've just unlocked the option to get women in the workplace, and now we're just doubling, the time spent under this one category, whereas we can do a variety of things instead. I think that's the way to go about it right now, just because of our current circumstances, and because, yes, I would like to see our military be a bit happier, especially because, again, we're trying to go toe-to-toe with some pretty dangerous forces in the very near future. So secret police it shall be. We, of course, have the option of the National Guard as well, but I believe the secret police is just a little bit more powerful in the ways that we need, and granted, both of them will cost some additional bureaucracy, but we're fine on that front nowadays. So secret police, let's go for it, and it'll be 1894 before we first try to pass a check. if I get the petite bourgeoisie into our government, we'll have a slightly higher chance of enactment, but I don't think we have to chase that. It's a 5% difference. I'm going to live to regret these words, but so be it, right? So be it. I'm pleased enough with the decisions over there. All right, now the next order of business has to actually do with the promised industrialization. In order to really maximize how much money our investment pool is generating per week, we have to be able to construct a lot more than just 160's worth of construction per week. As you can see, this is still changing at plus 120k a week. So there is some wiggle room here, and in order to take advantage of that wiggle room, the first thing we're going to do with regards to industrialization is actually max out some of our construction sectors. So we're going to go ahead and get the one at Punjab maxed out. We're going to go ahead and get the one in Madras maxed out as well, because it's already up at 5, and that should allow us to build a little bit faster across the entire nation, but also at these locales as well. Throughout today's session, we're going to be upgrading these guys from time to time as well. The fact of the matter is that they only take about like 3 weeks or so to build. So over the next maybe 12 or so weeks, or 7 weeks, it looks as though we'll actually have all these construction sectors done, and we'll just be able to build so much more quickly. And in fact, you know, seeing that it'll be done so quickly, I'm actually going to go ahead and spend a bit more to upgrade the guys at Bombay as well. Let's go ahead and get these guys maxed out too. And again, yes, it'll take a bit of time, maybe 12, maybe 15 weeks, but the long run benefits are going to be absolutely astronomical in making this change over here. Something we will want to keep in mind, of course, is that as these sectors grow larger and as we build more at the same time, we're going to need more tools, logs, all that good stuff, right? So let's go ahead and make sure that we are investing in these guys as well. So expand the iron mines over in Balochistan to their, let's say, halfway point, I suppose, or let's actually go ahead and take them up to level 20. Right? That's a huge investment, but again, the investment pool is there for exactly that. Hopefully that'll help us out. Let's go ahead and also upgrade our tooling workshops in Punjab, or do we chase it somewhere else? Because another thing I really want to do is spread the love a little bit. We want to try and industrialize and urbanize more of the Indian subcontinent, and we want to try and, of course, get people changing their jobs and pop types in more places, you know, rather than just Punjab. It looks like revenue is higher in other parts of the subcontinent. So why don't we go ahead and do that? Let's go ahead and build up Madras a little bit. Sure, fair enough. Let's go ahead and build this up to level, let's say 10. And yes, while I am sacrificing some of the additional throughput from Punjab, again, I don't min-max. I try to find optimal approaches while also trying to actually play a role. And we are trying to industrialize and urbanize the entirety of the subcontinent, and modernize as well, I should say, right? So let's keep all that in mind as well. As we get some of this stuff in place, we'll keep an eye out for things like hardwood, because that's been somewhat problematic lately. And if we can actually go on over to our market screen here, we'll see that hardwood is actually still a problem. So let's go ahead and establish an additional import route, and hopefully we'll be able to bring something in from somewhere. My goodness, no one is really able to trade with us, I think, because of our convoy situation, which we'll get past in just a moment's time. Let's get the Ottoman market involved over here with the hardwood import. And apart from that as well, I would like to try and import more coal. Coal is going to be a major problem as we industrialize further, and I just want to point out that because I'm not planning on annexing the EIC anytime soon, we're not going to have access to the additional coal in Bihar or in Andhra or in, I believe, Orissa had some as well, right? So we're not going to have access to that. We're not going to be striking out at Afghanistan either because, again, they have coal there, but I don't want the infamy gain there. So we're going to rely a little bit on foreign powers for coal for the time being, but I do have some longer term plans, which is why I want to try and keep my infamy in check to at least a degree. Fact of the matter is, I don't think we'll be able to get rid of our pariah status before like the end date of the game, so we're gonna have to move aggressively, but I want to make sure I make the right decisions. Taking the EIC out, taking Afghanistan might, for example, upset France, and we do not want to upset France under any circumstances because they're the superpower. They will be able to wipe us out if they get involved and we catch ourselves sleeping, so I have to be very careful about that. With that said, yes, we'll be importing our coal for the time being, and hopefully we can find a nice route coming in from, I don't know, the Ottoman market or something. We'll keep an eye out on some of these. The North German market should be quite beneficial to us. Again, we forced that open, so let's take advantage of that, right? So let's hit that up, and again, in just a matter of a few moments, we should be able to get some more convoys, and I'll explain that logic in a few moments' time when it actually becomes available for us to take advantage of course. Meanwhile, entirely separately, we're going to kick off our first diplomatic play against Great Britain. This might be just a little too hasty, but the fact of the matter is we have to start cutting them down, because unless they are less than a great power, we will not be able to actually subjugate them. And if we declare war on them, it's a 5-year truce before we can declare war on them again. And I don't foresee us making a move to the Isles over the next 5 years' time, at least, or within the next 5 years' time, I should say. But I maybe want to reserve the option to do that after 5 years, and I mean like before the 1900s kick off. So that's very soon. So we have to start making moves now and just test the waters a little bit to, again, try to, yes, reduce them from a great power. It might take a few wars, and we are slowly running out of time. At least that's my fear. And at the same time, you know what? I'm feeling kind of cocky. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm feeling at least a little cocky about some of the pressure we can apply on Great Britain. So let's go ahead and push to liberate Canada. Why are we chasing after Canada? Well, Canada has the highest GDP among all of the British puppets, if my research holds true. Again, I was checking between sessions so I could make my plans accordingly, but they are the highest GDP of the various puppets that Great Britain has, and so taking them out of the sphere of British influence should have the biggest impact. So let's not hesitate any further and put forth the diplomatic play to liberate the subject that is Canada. This should free them from the grip of Great Britain without dragging in all of their other dominions and puppets. It should free us from that potential, escalated war and threat, though of course there is a chance that some of these other guys might side with the enemy. Hopefully we're not going to see France on the other side of this war. Obviously that is always a bit of a concern. If push comes to shove, we can always back down. We're kind of testing the waters here, but as we can see, having a liberate subject diplomatic play does not add any infamy to us. So we're not just going to do this one move here. We're going to try and chase after much more. Of course, in for a penny, in for a pound, and hopefully we're going to slice many a pound off of Great Britain here as we pursue additional diplomatic interests in Southern Africa, in Oceania, and I believe we could probably chase after additional interests in North Africa and Zanj as well, though those won't be relevant for the time being. I might as well do them while we have them available. The real reason why I'm chasing after many of these additional interests is because, of course, Cape Colony and New South Wales are also huge contributors to the overall strength of Great Britain. Canada leads by a large margin, but Cape Colony and New South Wales are second and third, and if we are able to liberate all of these puppets, then we're going to make a huge impact to the circumstances that Great Britain is seeing. Now, separately, we can also celebrate the fact that Great Britain seems to be fearful of the current situation. That is very interesting to me. I do wonder if they'll simply back down and allow us to liberate Canada. I'm not going to add any additional war goals until after we reach this second phase, because for the time being, there are no countries interested in being swayed in either direction. I mean, some of these guys might lean a little bit towards the British side, but I'm not seeing any green thumbs up for me at the very least. But what can change is when we reach that second phase, some of those maneuvers become available, and maybe, France will say, hey, if you liberate Cape Colony, then we'll join your war. Who knows what might happen? So I'm going to leave that open for later, but when we reach that second phase, we'll see what's going on and perhaps add some more war goals to, yes, take more away from Great Britain. As we're waiting for that to happen, though, again, yes, we are focusing on internal affairs, and I suppose most specifically, we're focusing on these construction sectors getting completed and seeing the actual rate of construction, again, just simply skyrocket. It's going to be so good to see so much work get done so quickly. I cannot wait. Obviously, as I say that, this number drops a little bit, but trust me, that's temporary. As these guys finish being built and finish staffing up, we're going to see some huge changes, as we're about to see some huge changes with regards to the seas as well. I've been waiting for this for quite some time. With Ironclad now unlocked, folks, we'll be able to build our own steamships at the shipyards. This will allow us to use ironclads at our naval bases. It'll allow us to use steam trawlers at our fishing wharves, and it will allow us to use the steamers for our ports as well, which will give us significantly more convoys. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at our ports over here and make sure they're using the industrial port. Again, this option was available from a few technologies ago, but I did not want to rely on foreign powers to import steamers from them or anything like that. Instead, I want to produce them at home, and I want to get that huge benefit, as you can see over here, to our convoy count. My goodness. So industrial ports it shall be. Let's get the naval bases using the ironclad as well. That's going to make us significantly more powerful than I think anybody else out at sea. And of course, let's make sure that we are actually getting our shipyards to produce steamships. And of course, we want to split the difference between military shipbuilding and commercial shipbuilding as well. So this will be extremely huge for us in so many different ways, primarily of course with regards to trade. And that's exactly what I was waiting for before we got some of those changes done. I saw some of you mention it in the comments, and I was just thinking like, it'll be next session, I'm pretty sure, because ironclad was right around the corner. And there you have it. So that's going to make trade a lot more profitable and a lot more powerful. And again, in just about a couple weeks time, we're going to see construction become a lot more profitable and powerful as well, because these sectors will get completed, and now we just have to wait for them to get staffed up. And you'll see over here this number grow, as down over here we can see the hand-cranked machine gun has started to spread to us. That's pretty good, because that's going to increase our kill rates and our army defense. Both of those are helpful. I don't think I have to explain in further detail why, but I'm very pleased to have that spread towards us. As over here we'll see, yeah, slowly but surely this number is going to go higher and higher. And as this goes higher, and more particularly as this number goes higher, we're going to see more of these queued items be able to get built at the same time. Now, as our interests get activated across the board, we can see that Great Britain has actually started importing ironclads from us. Are you for real, buddy? We're about to go to war potentially. Just give up. Like, why would you? So foolish. Now, they are still fearful, and they haven't even mobilized. So that tells me they're very likely to simply back down and give up. At the same time, nobody is interested in being swayed over here, so very well. My goodness, Great Britain backed down before I could even add additional... Wow. Wow. All right. Folks, that is amazing. That is huge. Just think about the implications there. We scared Great Britain. We terrified them to the point of giving liberty to an entire dominion of theirs. Just freeing Canada of their grip. That's insanity. Are you for real right now? Yeah. Oh my goodness, why are they such a hideous green? Look, you know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. That is the color of victory. A very hideous victory, but a victory nonetheless. My goodness, that green is ugly. Let's get it off screen. Wow. But no, folks, I mean, just think about that. We just scared Great Britain into submission. Oh boy, the smile on my face right now, ear to ear. My goodness, that is huge. And let's not lose focus now. Of course, we have a truce with Great Britain that's going to last now 5 years, obviously. So if we take a look at our diplomacy screen, we'll see it's not until 1898 before we can declare a fresh war and perhaps remove another puppet from them. So we'll get to that when we get to that. But again, like I said, let's keep our eyes on the prize here. Let's stay focused on our internal circumstances, as again you can see the construction sector continues to grow, and I think we're not tapping into it enough. Why don't we go ahead and build up some universities? It's been requested that I perhaps build up the universities in my source, so let's go ahead and actually not just build them, but prioritize their construction, get them done first. Maybe let's get them up to level 5, because again, our literacy is giving us a significantly higher innovation cap than what we're using. And if we just get that gap closed, we're going to see this number shrink significantly. I don't know if 5 levels of university is actually enough. I'm sure we could go much higher before we meet our cap. But we also have to consider, of course, that universities are still paid for by the government. And I want to make sure that there's an sort of equal-ish spread between the investment from the government and investment from the investment pool as well, of course, which is still growing at a significant rate. One thing we have to keep in mind, by the way, is that all of these industrial buildings need to maintain their cash reserves and a positive weekly balance, because if they don't, they're going to stop contributing to the investment pool, and that's going to hurt its growth rate and ultimately our own growth rate. So for example, here, the weekly balance is in a negative, so no money's going into the investment pool. But if we head on over to these steel mills and upgrade them and reduce the cost price of this input good, then they're going to be profitable again, right? So let's go ahead and expand steel mills. Sure, over in Punjab, they're already queued up to have another 3 levels added, but why don't we go ahead and add 3 more? Sure, that should help out, right? And
can never have enough steel. Can never have enough steel. Meanwhile, in Punjab, should we perhaps also pursue the motor industries? Because these guys are ridiculously expensive, and they're used across so many of our plantations and stuff. So why don't we go ahead and get you leveled up to 20? Why not? And we'll revisit some of these numbers later on, obviously, as these things actually get built up. Now, some of our construction sectors are still being built, so this number should go a little bit higher. I would perhaps like to push it even higher, at least until we see change become a negative when we're building, because we want to be able to drain the investment pool. There's no point in having that grow and grow and grow. It needs to be, used, otherwise it's just money that's sitting there, right? Now, apart from that, on the topic of things that are growing, take a look at that loyalist count. My goodness, 4.11 million, and here's our 2-to-1 ratio once more, except this time, it's the loyalists that significantly outnumber the radicals, and yes, I'm aware it's not actually a 2-to-1 ratio, don't worry, I can do the quick math, but it's close enough. Come on, let me have this. I think this huge drop and this huge spike was a result of us, again, getting rid of all of those consumption taxes and reducing just, general tax rates as well, so this is fantastic. Meanwhile, what's less fantastic is Austria declaring a fresh rivalry upon us. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to make another move in terms of cutting us down to size, but that'd be okay. We know how to deal with the Austrians, so you know what? Come at us. Come at me. I do not mind whatsoever. As much as I would like to avoid the hardship that war brings, I'll take you on, buddy. As some of these logging camps get completed, I do wonder if we won't have to worry about hardwood anymore. We might just cancel that import route. We'll think about it. And this is kind of unfortunate. It looks as though there's a bit of a situation going down over here with the Zulu uprising. Let's go ahead and make our stance clear over here, and we'll see if something happens that allows us to actually join them, or if our presence here is enough to scare Great Britain off, but I doubt it. They're very cocky. I doubt anyone's going to actually side with the Zulu. It would be nice to see it happen, but hey, We'll show our intent at the very least, right? Seems as though inefficient agriculture is causing us some trouble over here. It's the fight between industrialists and just the upper strata of society here. I suppose we could let the industrialists suffer a little bit of upsetness, right? No, they're just on the precipice of not being loyal anymore, so we will go ahead and follow their advice. Again, this Maharaja is trying his best to keep everyone as happy as possible so that we can avoid any further revolutionary attempts. There will be some radicalization as a result of this, but look, I'm willing to give some ground on that front, right? You gotta lose some to win some, or whatever the saying is. So we'll follow their advice. The industrialists should be kept happy, and at the same time, we're going to keep an eye out for these universities getting completed, because I just want to see how much of a difference they actually make. Meanwhile, it looks as though we are able to side with the Zulu uprising despite our truce with Great Britain. I am not sure why it's allowing us to do that, because the truce is very much active, but I'm not going to miss out on this opportunity to stop Great Britain from further pushing its weight around. If we can cause some trouble for them here, I'll be extremely pleased. Again, don't forget, we are using significantly more powerful technology than we once were before. We might actually be in a much better position than Great Britain is right now. I mean, they only have 42 battalions? No way. This isn't accurate. They also haven't started mobilizing. So I just wonder if we start to mobilize down over here in Mysore, right? If we get our buddy here, Dalip Singh, mobilizing just to apply a bit of pressure, then maybe they'll just back down and we'll help the Zulu separate from Great Britain and its sphere of influence. Wow, that would make me so very happy, as down over here is something that makes me a little unhappy with the landowners now being influential once more. On the bright side, though, they are also loyal, so I guess we can celebrate that. It did make me realize that the industrialists would have stayed loyal even if we upset them a little bit. I was thinking 15 is where job creators kicked in, not 10. That's my foolishness, but it really isn't the end of the world. That's perfectly fine. As down over here, you know what? Maybe we go ahead and, push our friend Dalip Singh to defend the front here, because war is going to break out. Obviously, Cape Colony is involved, but if we can help hold the ground over here, that would be absolutely huge. Again, if this war is lost, it's not the end of the world unless some war goals get added against us, but nothing's been done yet. And as we're mobilizing, so too now are the enemy. We'll just see if that uncertainty falls down into a state of just complete despair once more. I'm sure they'll fight this one, though. I'm sure they'll stand and fight for this one. Meanwhile, over here, the universities are about to be completed, so as they get staffed up, we'll see a significant change with regards to the rate of research. Again, we're seeing the number 65 here from innovation. That should go up, and 4 years should be brought down as well, as at the same time, it seems as though there's a diplomatic play against us to cut us down to size, I'm sure, led by Austria. Here they come again. Fair enough. When this reaches the next phase, we'll see if anybody's interested in joining our side of the war, and you know, whether they do or don't, I'm sure we'll be fine against the Austrians. We know how to deal with them. We'll just take their war reparations and you know, go laughing to the bank with all that money, obviously. Very pleased that they're actually even trying this. And if we take a look at our tech situation over here, look at that. Already down to 3 years from 4 years. And you might be thinking, well, maybe we were already on the cusp of that change. So we'll give it some more time as the universities in Mysore get more and more staffed up. And then we'll go ahead and revisit that number to see exactly where it ends up, as we have another situation in Canada now with radical Canada and not so radical Canada, I suppose. Oh, there we go. It's the Canadian Bourgeois Revolt. Fair enough. Not gonna, or wait, hold, hang on, it keeps changing its name. They're just not able to decide on what kind of a revolution they want to be, I suppose, but they know they want some kind of a revolution. Nonetheless, we're not going to be able to get involved with that. It is here that we must focus our attention. Oh, these guys have become confident. I don't like that. Do I need to mobilize more soldiers? Sure. Let's go ahead and get Jessa Singh Dogra over here, I suppose, mobilized. And let's get him defending the front over here as well. I think I might have waited just a little bit too long to do that. But Dalip Singh himself is just 20 days away as well. But this war might start a little bit sooner than that, which would be a little unfortunate, though their soldiers are going to take some time to get here too, so their advance might not kick off. We'll see what ends up happening. We'll see what ends up happening. Hopefully we can help the Zulu uprising. Worst case scenario, we lose this war. It's not the end of the world for us. I'm more concerned, obviously, about the Austrians' attempt to cut us down to size, as war with Great Britain has broken out. Amazing. I really hope we're able to make a difference over here. Again, they're not able to advance. Neither are they advancing, truth be told. They are trying to defend the front over here. So maybe we try to make a move. In 8 days' time, Dalip Singh is going to arrive, and then we can try and get aggressive. And at the same time, I do wonder what other fronts might evolve, as we are at war with quite a few puppets of Great Britain now, right? All right, now, as things are kicking off over here, let's head on over to our buildings section, because it just occurred to me that our fishing wharves are still using old technology. They're using the fishing trawlers, whereas they should be using the steam trawlers, producing significantly more fish, costing some coal, sure, but again, they were seeing an input goods shortage from the lack of clippers, because we're not making them anymore. So steam trawlers it should be, and we'll continue to keep an eye, of course, on this number as well, to make sure we're constantly building more and more, because even here now you can see we're barely hitting the investment pool as far as their costs are concerned, right? So a massive runway over here. We could actually build even more construction sectors if we feel the need. But for the time being, I'm going to go ahead and stay focused on the war over here as best as possible, while also highlighting from time to time our innovation situation over here. Again, it's increased a fair bit. We can actually go a fair bit higher, and if we take a look at Mysore, we'll see the university over here has a bit more room. But sure, you know what? Why don't we go ahead and take you up to level 10 and leave it at that, while we focus on, yes, the situation over here, as enemy battalions have arrived and they are now trying to advance the front. If we are able to hold our ground, if we are able to defend and cause enough damage before flipping the script and getting aggressive, this is going to look amazing on our resume. Look at this, my goodness, we are actually crushing them. This is beautiful, my goodness. I've never seen oh my goodness. Even with that massive spike in recovery rate, we're able to hang tight over here. All right, off to a good start. I don't want to get too excited, as we have France getting involved in a play over here, but immediately forcing proper flag Canada to back down against improper flag Canada. Okay, it is what it is. It's okay. I can live with this hideous flag and this hideous green. That's all right. My goodness. But down over here, though, this brings me so much joy. Here's our first victory in this war. If we can, oh my god, if we can make this happen, I'll be so glad, as war with Austria breaks out as well. Obviously, we're in a bit of a situation here, as we've left ourselves a little open. Obviously, our puppets have mobilized, so they will be able to defend. But I think what we'll do is we'll just wait until the Austrian war support drops close enough to 0, and then perhaps we'll go ahead and strike at their colonies and force them to give us war reparations that way, right? Their war support is dropping at -1 per week. Ours is dropping at -0.28 per week, so I'm not very concerned on that front. And we can stay focused on further, industrialization and progress. I mean, this is feeling really good to just not have to worry about these military kind of endeavors and adventures, as over here a second battle has kicked off where they outnumbered us as far as battalion count is concerned, but we have absolutely butchered them. My goodness, they actually outnumbered us in terms of troop count too, but it looks like we're hanging in there. It looks like we're going to stay on top here and yeah, keep these guys absolutely crushed. Let's keep this up. I have to make sure I pull the trigger on the advance at the right time. We can't do it too early because then we'll be in a fair bit of trouble, right? So let's just keep an eye on this and make sure we turn things around when we actually feel it's safe to do so, rather than a little prematurely out of, I don't know, nerves or something, right? Meanwhile, up over here, there seems to be discord within the landowners. And folks, on that note, I should mention, if you're looking for folks to play Victoria 3 with, or other Paradox games, or just folks to hang out with, then you might want to check out the channel's Discord, located in the description down below. I'm not going to apologize for that segue and that opportunity, but no, jokes aside, there's a link in the description down below. Feel free to join the Discord. It's a fantastic place with some fantastic folks to hang out with, play games with, just chit-chat with. Feel free to join in and, you know, seek out games or help, or just some storytelling too. Meanwhile, what do we actually have here in this Discord within the landowners? An influential faction within the landowners has grown frustrated with their co-members' neutrality on the topic of secret police. Themselves in favor of the law, they have now resolved to form a separate political faction intent on passing it. Okay, we've seen similar situations in the past. With their support, the bill shall pass. They will reduce the interest group pop attraction of landowners while also increasing the enactment success chance. That is win-win for us, truth be told. The other option is, of course, to further empower the petite bourgeoisie while hurting the landowners even more for less of an enactment success chance. You know what? I think I'm okay with that. Yeah, let's go with that. The petite bourgeoisie extend an open hand to these mavericks. Absolutely. Our success chance is at 36.5%. That's not too bad, and hopefully that'll further reduce the clout of the landowners, right? Or at least prevent it from growing too much stronger. That's looking pretty promising. All right, fair enough. Meanwhile, as we can see here, we've got all of our construction going, and there's still some room here, and still plenty of room here. So why don't we go ahead and build some more? It seems as though our munitions plants are not able to keep a full set of employees, and that must be because when they reach a tipping point, their balance drops into the negatives as a result of explosives being too expensive. Now, I can't recall if I mentioned this already, folks, so I apologize if I'm repeating myself, but if the weekly balance drops too low or goes into the negatives, you'll see the investment pool drop lower and lower, or rather I should say the investment pool contribution from that building drop lower and lower. So you have to make sure that these buildings are profitable. You have to make sure they're able to keep full cash reserves, and that way you'll get more out of them as far as the investment pool is concerned. So it'll keep growing at that, you know, increased rate, and perhaps even higher and higher as these industries are willing to, again, put more money into this pool because they have more money. They have money coming in, they have money in the cash reserves, so the spare money ends up, in investment pools. Anyways, let's go ahead and try and, you know, help them along by reducing the input costs over here by expanding the chemical plants where in Punjab. Again, we want to try and generate revenue elsewhere. We want to try and generate employment elsewhere and get people moving their pop types, right? So why don't we go ahead and invest a little bit in Bombay? Sure. Let's go ahead and pop a few of you down over here. Let's go up to 5, I suppose. And we should perhaps also consider the government admin buildings we'll need, because we are looking at a reduced bureaucracy right now. Again, I'm not too worried about the tax waste there. We can very quickly dodge it by heading on over, let's say, to South Bengal and building these guys up by a few levels. Or actually, I apologize, we shouldn't have done that. If we hold down Alt, we'll actually queue them up to the top of the construction queue and get them done sooner, and it'll be just a few weeks perhaps of tax wastage, right? Meanwhile, back down over here, let's take a look at this war as we continue to defend the front and they continue to try and make advances, and hopefully we continue to come out on top. This is beautiful. This is absolutely beautiful, and war support's looking all right too. Theirs will drop below 0 because they don't hold any war goals, so we can just hold the front here and come out on top. That's great. Meanwhile, convoys are being sunk, which I'm not a fan of, obviously. So why don't we go ahead and get our new admiral recruited, because our previous one left us when he decided to join the revolution, of course. And we'll go ahead and give this to who? Of course, it goes to Nihal Dillon here, because he is of the rural folk as opposed to the landowners. And also, he is an experienced convoy raider, which is very exciting, and an expert naval commander, which is huge, as you can see. And he's also a dockyard organizer. I mean, he has everything going for him. He's also cautious, which, you know, can go either way, I suppose, but this is fantastic. Let's go ahead and put him in charge, and let's actually immediately give him a promotion as well, because we have quite a few more ships than he's actually able to have access to and lead. So let's give him a promotion there, and we could give him another promotion. Fair enough. Up you go, buddy. Up the ladder, just like that. And let's go ahead and get him. I suppose I could have him patrolling the coasts over here, and hopefully he'll... I don't know if that actually helps protect convoys, or if he has to escort convoys to the region to make a difference. Let's go ahead and say, yeah, escort convoys towards France, because you know, they should be heading this way, and hopefully that'll keep these guys safe and you know, supplied and all that as well, obviously, right? Now, as the university in Mysore has been leveled up to level 10, you'll see over here that our innovation rate has increased rather significantly. It's still not at its cap, and as our literacy rate goes higher and higher, our innovation cap goes higher and higher too. So we could upgrade this university a bit further too. Nonetheless, we'll leave it be where it is right now for the time being, I suppose, because we want to invest in some other things too, right? Over here, we are finally, it looks like, about to be defeated, which is unfortunate because I just got a little too cocky, but it's such a small gap here. My goodness, are you for real? We're suffering from a morale damage protection penalty, and they've got this morale damage increase as well on their side. So fair enough, one battle lost, but hopefully that doesn't spell, you know, a complete end of this war. We'll have to push them back. We did so much, you know, already. So hopefully we can do something here. Maybe we have to flip the script and start advancing ourselves. Maybe we have to send, I don't know, Karak Singh himself down here, mobilize all of his troops perhaps. We could see. Or, of course, we can get the conscripts going in South India as well. If we just go ahead and activate the conscription center in, I suppose, Mysore to keep a more manageable number without going through the roof in terms of expenses, I think we'll be just fine. So this is very exciting to see. The price of coal has actually been balanced out a little bit. It's still a little bit on the higher side, but hey, at least it's not massive gold coin stacks, right? So the trade route with France has leveled up, I think, rather significantly, largely because of the availability of more and more convoys. So hopefully, as we eventually are able to upgrade our ports a bit further, we'll be able to grow these trade routes even further. Again, just as a reminder, our ports are currently maxed out, so there's nothing we can do on that front until we unlock the right technologies to push them a bit further. But this is all very exciting, as is the fact that we have room to build even more stuff. So what should we pursue? I'm just like at a loss really for what to chase. You know what we could do? We could take a look at Great Britain, and we could see exactly what makes them so prestigious as far as, again, what they produce the most of. I think we actually knocked them down from being the lead producer of fish when we started using more modern equipment on that front. We can go ahead and chase after, I suppose, sulfur, and you know what? Paper. That's a good call. Let's go ahead and chase after the sulfur mines over here, upgrade them to level 10, and the paper mills of Punjab can be upgraded as well. If we go ahead and do that, it will hopefully reduce the cost of course, paper, not just to our pops, but to the government as well. And beyond that, you know, looking at food industries tells me, why don't we go ahead and get some of that going? Why don't we go ahead and expand these guys where? Maybe in Delhi, get a little bit of that, and spread some of that love, right? Get these guys getting different jobs apart from just working in the agricultural industries, and hopefully by producing more groceries, we'll get some of our pops to use groceries as opposed to, you know, grain and fish and all that good stuff. And then we can actually get even the lower strata of society using some of these goods that are worth more per pound than, say, grain, right? Because of the value of the good substitution. Though I can see over here, we are seeing some trouble as far as our mines are concerned. So let's expand our iron mines where in Balochistan. Let's go ahead and max these guys out. It'll take some time unless I prioritize them, I suppose, which, you know what, I'm just going to leave be. We'll leave it be as is for the time being, as I focus my attention down over here once more, because it does look like, yes, this battle is most certainly lost, but it's not the end of the world, right? The war is not lost, not yet at least. Holding on to hope over here, as some lucky dice rolls can make all the difference we need. Now, if you do take a look at the war support situation, theirs can now not go below 0 because they hold just the tiniest bit of territory in Zulu land. So we could perhaps flip this around and start advancing ourselves, or we could allow the defense of these provinces, allow for the recapture of that lost province, because it is just the one. Let's see how this plays out, and maybe we might change our minds depending on how this plays out. Okay, there you go. Good stuff, good stuff. So hopefully we'll, yes, push them back. But look at how intertwined these lines were for a moment there until we separated over here. My goodness, like this could really have swung either way. But what this tells me is that if we go toe-to-toe with Great Britain, what the hell is this nonsense, man? Are you for real? Why would you... We were winning. Why would you do such a thing? Well, that's disappointing. I'm not going to lie to you. That's very disappointing. We were actually making a decent move there, and the Zulu could have seceded, but instead they remain a puppet of Great Britain. It's okay. We tossed our hat in the ring. We did all we could, and now we can focus on our own war, really, where the Austrians continue to lose war support much more quickly than us, and where we're going to make them suffer for their attempts at intervention in the Indian subcontinent. To that end, we're going to go ahead and get Nihal Dillon over here with a naval invasion, headed towards, of course, yes, Jaffa, with Dalip Singh and his battalions on his ships. This should give us a decent chance of success against the Austrians. It should allow us to drop their war support below 0, and hopefully we'll see a quick end to this war, and we can start saving up some money again, right, for other purposes. Again, this is supposed to be all about internal affairs as we celebrate the completion of the Ironclad's journal entry. What does that give us? A doctrine of iron and steam. The introduction of vessels with metal-skinned hulls represents nothing less than a revolution in naval warfare. Near impervious to traditional types of shot, Admiral Nihal Dillon assures us that Punjabi dominion of the seas will be absolute. While wooden ships with iron men might beat iron ships with wooden men, it sure does not hurt to have the armor on our side. Absolutely. My goodness. So this will make our line of battle invincible, increasing our navy defense. Or we can replace our metal bows with metal rams. What could go wrong? Increasing our navy offense, but reducing our defensive capabilities. Or Punjab rules the waves. Plus 10% navy power projection. You know what, folks? We have to go with that, right? We have to go with that. We are supplanting Britannia, as it were, in every possible avenue. So yes, Punjab rules the waves. My goodness. And I do believe we've proven that a few different ways just by how we made Great Britain shake and quiver in their boots, and how we actually presented a threat to them down over here. I think what happened was the Zulu Secession's war support just dropped down to 0, or perhaps their peace acceptance just tipped over, and you know, they simply accepted the peace because we were a non-negotiating partner, which is really unfortunate. But look, it's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. We're still on top, and now we've shown Great Britain that we are a force to be reckoned with, and honestly, that makes me happy enough. Meanwhile, let's keep an eye on Dalip Singh over here. It'll take him about a month and a half to get over to his naval invasion. As up over here, yeah, some of this construction is going to get completed, and hopefully we'll see some big moves getting made and some additional savings being accrued too, as we're finally chipping away at the investment pool. Really is the most I can call this. Perhaps we do need more construction sectors just to be able to work a little bit faster, because why not? So let's head on over to yeah, sure, South Bengal, and get these guys up to level 10, and we'll see where we take it from there, as human rights have become unlocked as well. Hopefully people will take advantage of this, and maybe we'll chase after feminism and see where that takes us as well, because again, like I was saying earlier, I do have some plans on that front, but let's not get too excited or ahead of ourselves. Again, things tend to go the wrong way sometimes, don't they, as things go very right here, with reinforced concrete being unlocked, further improving our construction sector throughput. And at the bottom right corner, we can see the camera has begun to spread, which will add to our prestige. That's all well and good. We should perhaps take a look at getting some arts academies going as well, to get some fine arts and services added to our production. While locally, I don't think we have people at the right, you know, level, I suppose, the wealth level to actually purchase fine art. We could perhaps export some of it. If we just take a look at our population, on average we have 25.5 for the upper strata, 20.8 for the middle strata, and 12.1 for the lower strata. So upward trends across the board, but you know, nowhere near the type that'll actually consume fine art, though I'm sure there are some outliers. These are averages. Meanwhile, down here, we've got electrical generation spreading towards us. That will allow us to get power plants going, and that will then further allow us to get electrical street lights and much better production methods across a few different buildings. So we'll take a look at that when the opportunity presents itself. We actually have some very good stuff spreading towards us. I am 0% upset about how that played out, actually. You know, it occurs to me right now that we managed to defeat Great Britain there in a handful of battles without trench works. That's actually rather promising. My goodness, I thought we already had trench works for some reason in my head, and we don't. So that's very promising. Why don't we go ahead and invest in a few more university upgrades in Mysore, because we could most certainly see our rate of technology acquisition go a little bit higher. So up to 15 we go next, and again, as our literacy goes higher and higher as well, this cap will go higher too. So that's all well and good, and we'll try and keep up with it and at least close the gap. So we're just making the most of it, right? At the same time, I do have to keep an eye out for our own debt. Don't forget though that this is largely because we're not charging taxes and we're paying people through the roof as well, right? So at a moment's notice, I can flip this around and we could start making a lot more money. Even if we go up to this level over here, again, that'll have our investment while we're building stuff, right? So if I need to do it, I can go ahead and do it. But right now I'm enjoying the additional legitimacy and the reduced radicalization from standard of living decreases. And of course the increased just loyalty as well from the extra money that our pops actually have. If this starts to get scarier, if I start to get a little worried, then maybe I'll reconsider the situation. As up over here, I do believe Arabia HQ has been established. Wonderfully done. If we look back over here, we'll see they are now able to, yes, have their war support drop below 0, and it's dropping at a significant enough rate that I feel pretty good about the situation at hand. Remember as well, we did activate a conscription sector, or center, I should say, perhaps rather foolishly, and that is going to eat away at some of our money as well. Not too much just quite yet, but as it grows, and as it gets more conscripts, it's going to get more and more expensive. So that's something to keep in mind, obviously. While it looks as though we have a bit of an advance happening over here, the EIC is not going to be able to hold these guys back, unfortunately. So they are going to finally create a front, and we're going to have to push them back. So let's go ahead and get the Dalip Singh back over here to defend fronts as soon as one gets presented. Let's go ahead and flip to standby so he actually returns to South India HQ. Otherwise, it'll take him, as you can see, 60 days. And I think he's already maybe going to run a little late as far as the next advance is concerned. But fear not. We, of course, have plenty of, puppet battalions as well working in our favor. Unfortunately, we see a huge drop in the loyalist count. Where is that coming from? What just happened here? Is it just because of the battle we're seeing right now? Is it because of the Preserve Home Affairs, or rather Preserve No Home Affairs political movement? That's a huge hit, though. My goodness. Come on, come on. Meanwhile, over here, there is the front being opened, and we're still waiting, I think, a handful of days, about a month's time, before our general returns so that he can actually push these guys back. But as you can see, our puppets are very much getting involved, and there aren't that many battalions from the Austrian side either, so they're not able to cover all of these fronts, and we're able to very quickly push them back and perhaps even shut them down in their entirety, though it does look like they're probably going to make at least some advances. We'll see how this plays out, but as you can see, very quickly our puppets are shutting all this nonsense down, which feels fantastic. Good stuff, good stuff. This war is very close to being done, and we can, truly stay focused on other matters as public trading gets completed as well. Yet another journal entry giving us access to mutually beneficial. Now that we have more publicly traded companies, we should now focus on what comes next. I don't see the problem. What is wrong with more money? Are you telling me that if they offered you more, you would say no? It's not about getting more money. It's about who is getting more money. The rich get richer, it would appear. This might affect our politics, or maybe we can use this elsewhere, giving us additional progress towards the international exchange standards, which improves our rate of minting while reducing our loan interest rates too. That's actually not bad. It'll take 7 years to research though, so I don't know if we're going to focus on this anytime soon. The other option is to hurt the interest group pop attraction for industrialists and rural folk both. And you know what? I don't want to do that, because those pops might instead end up with the landowners, and that is not something I want. So maybe we'll use this elsewhere and just invest in the international exchange standards for when we turn our attention to that. Absolutely, let's go ahead and do that instead. And let's keep an eye out for the completion of these universities as well, and maybe some more government admin buildings as well, because we just don't have enough bureaucracy being generated, I don't think, to make up for what's coming when we finally get the secret police. Though it seems as though we failed yet another round, so we'll hold off on the government admin buildings as we take a look at dissenters breaking ranks. To outside observers, the petite bourgeoisie may appear firmly committed to the idea of secret police, but behind this facade of unity, discord has long festered. Now, a clique of dissenters have finally had enough and have officially broken with their fellow members over the issue of reform. For how long have we stood together? How many times have we lent a willing hand your way? Yet our own concerns are left unanswered and our desires left unmet. If we shall not be heard here, we shall be so elsewhere. splitters. May the devil take them. That'll hurt our enactment success chance significantly. Or loosen our purse strings. Perhaps we can lure some of them back. These will both hurt our enactment success chance. It's a difference of 5%, but a huge financial investment for just 2 years' time. All right, fair enough. It's only for 2 years, so let's go ahead and loosen our purse strings. That's an unfortunate development. I was not expecting so much pushback to enacting the secret police, but hey, it is what it is. We'll see how it plays out. As down over here, has our general arrived? No, he's about 6 days away. We have a battle over here where the Austrians are most certainly going to win, but after that we'll have our actual defender of South India here to push these guys back. I'm sure it's not going to be too much trouble, as it looks like they're making an advance up there as well. So a couple of moves being made. We have to make sure we shut it down as soon as possible. So advance the front over here where there's a gap and there are no battles already active. It'll take him how long to get here? Well, basically no time, and this advance will be done before the 60 days pass over here, and that'll hopefully help close some of these fronts down and invalidate some of these battles too. We'll keep an eye out for it, and hopefully all this nonsense will come to an end shortly. It looks as though we already made a difference up over there, and this new battle over here is going to be in our favor. All right, cool. This is pretty much done, and their war support is about to hit 0, and it'll further down into negative 100 in no time, and we'll get those war reparations, and that'll most certainly help our economy, as over here we can now invest in even more building. All right, first of all, let's go ahead and solve some of these infrastructure issues that we're starting to see, because I've just been recklessly building stuff in places like Punjab without actually letting our infrastructure, keep up. So let's go ahead and build up the railway over here by 5 steps. Again, that'll still be covered by the investment pool, which is great to see. But apart from that as well, let's go ahead and make sure we're actually considering what's too expensive in our market. We should be able to actually export some sugar. Let's see if there are some good routes available over here. Unfortunately, doesn't seem to be the case, so we'll leave that be. And separately, let's go ahead and invest in what? Sure, let's get some more of these iron mine expansions completed. Looks like Balochistan is maxed out, and that's still not enough, unsurprisingly so. Why don't we go ahead and develop Delhi a bit further over here and see if we can't go ahead and get you up to what level, let's say 10. And separately from that, let's go ahead and take a look at luxury clothes, because by making more luxury clothes through the textile mills, we'll also make more regular clothes, and that'll make all sorts of people happy across all strata, right? So let's go ahead and invest in these guys up in Balochistan. Sure, let's get you up to level 10 perhaps, and maybe we'll invest a little bit in Madras as well. Sure, let's get you up to level 10 too. Again, we're queuing stuff up. They're not all going to build at the same time, but by queuing these things up, we don't have to worry about them as often. Now, motor industries, I do believe we are currently in the midst of getting some upgrades done. Oh no, they're actually done. So let's get some motor industries going where? In perhaps Delhi as well. Sure, let's further industrialize Delhi. Let's get you up to level 10 and make other businesses a bit more profitable, right? And otherwise, I think we can leave it at that, though I wouldn't mind having additional shipyards built too. Over here in Madras, let's go ahead and get you upgraded to level 5, let's say, and we'll take it from there. Again, we've queued up a lot. It'll take some time to actually get to the bottom of the queue, but at least we've queued up a bit, and we don't have to keep flipping back and forth to some of this stuff. Meanwhile, just 17 months left for trenchworks to be acquired now, and if we take a look up over here, it looks as though we are actually at our innovation cap. So until literacy gets a little bit higher, there's no point in chasing after universities outside of course, yes, social mobility. Now, because of our decrees and all that good stuff, we should hopefully be seeing quite a few of these people have better access to schools and just higher literacy rates. So this is looking very promising. 40%, that's no joke. Obviously, these guys are above our average, and there are a few different states that are bringing us down, but we'll find good points of balance and stuff. If we take a look at Punjab over here, for example, again, these numbers have been going up as well, the overall standard of living and wealth level, so that's all promising. But why don't we go ahead and take a look at their literacy? Yeah, 46%. Like, this is all fantastic. This is all very good, and it'll be some time, I think, before we're able to actually invest in a higher level institution over here. We just need a bit more bureaucracy, so maybe I should pursue those government admin buildings for more than just our secret police right now, right? We're about a quarter of the way through, maybe I should say a third of the way through. So sure, why don't we wait until some construction is done, and then we'll go ahead and bring the government admin buildings in, again, maybe in South Bengal or something like that. I should also really consider investing in more paper mills. Paper is ridiculously expensive for the government. My goodness. I think, again, we're paying more for paper than we are for, any of our military goods, for example. So sure, we don't have to rush them, but we can definitely go ahead and queue them up to the end of the queue right now, get this up to level 40, let's say. And it looks as though our arms industry is having some trouble because of hardwood costs. So why don't we, sure, establish an import route? Is there an option here? nothing really worthwhile, so instead we'll go ahead and expand the logging camps where in Punjab. Sure, let's go ahead and actually let's not do that. Let's go ahead and expand them in, I suppose, Balochistan. Why not over here instead? Just to, again, employ some folks out over here, and we'll get it up to level 2. That'll max out, and perhaps in North Bengal as well, we'll make sort of a longer term investment, because again, we can max these guys out for higher throughput, right? So we'll get this up to level 10, and hopefully it won't take us too long to get that built, just about 8 weeks time, and they'll hopefully be able to cover our hardwood requirements, right? Now, it looks as though we actually have a peace offer from the Austrians, giving us our war reparations without cutting us down to size. Who would have thunk? I will accept this peace deal. Let's go ahead and bring an end to this senseless fighting, and hopefully they won't try again. So with the war reparations in place and our army now standing down, we are making close to 100K per week. And again, folks, just as a polite reminder, this positive budget is despite our low taxation and lack of consumption taxes, so I'm very happy. Again, we could try and break ourselves free from this debt, but again, it doesn't concern me all that much. We're able to beat our interest significantly, so I'm really not too concerned outside of the occasional war that we might dive into, at which point in time we can, yes, change how our budget is actually laid out and start actually taxing the people. All right, with the railways having been completed and the logging camps almost done as well, let's head on over to, I say, South Bengal over here and get the government admin building over here queued up. 5 steps, sure, and perhaps North Bengal as well. Let's get you up to 45, and let's just take a look at what that's done to our queue over here. Yeah, still 1 week, and the logging camps will all be completed. It is ridiculous how much construction output we actually have right now, and, you know, there are more technologies we can get to further push this, though we can also, yes, further develop our construction sector buildings. I don't think that's necessary. I think we're fine, but I'll consider it based on how this develops maybe by the end of this session or something like that. I do think we're okay right now. It's just because we are building so many government admin buildings that we still have the investment pool generating some money, though they are making so much cash. And this is all because we've actually managed, ever so slightly, but it does make a difference, we've managed the cost of input goods and output goods. We've made sure that all of these buildings stayed as profitable as possible, and anytime we saw a cash reserve get emptied out, we investigated and maybe took an opportunity to improve the cost of goods and the flow of goods on that front. Now, coal is once more becoming a problem. That's not a surprise. Can we invest in another import route? Seems as though we just don't have enough. You know, the next technology we unlock might have to do with higher port levels, because I think we just need more convoys. And I'm just wondering if we can perhaps get rid of one of our other trade routes to free up some import routes, perhaps. What's going on with these guys? Why are they not exporting to us? They can't have an embargo on us because we forced them to open their market. So why is this inactive? Is it just entirely unprofitable? I'm not sure, but we'll go ahead and cancel both of these, I suppose. There's no point in having them open. Maybe it's because they've lost access to the goods or to their port, perhaps. There seems to be an uprising, so maybe we'll go back in there after they've taken care of this situation, and at the same time we'll take a look and see if there may be some other routes we can cancel that use up convoys that we don't need to see used up. Like, for example, do we really need to export so much dye? Well, that's not even in our purview. Okay, fair enough. Is there anything that I could actually cancel here? Come on, baby, give me something. Luxury furniture we definitely need, so I'm not going to cancel any of that. What about fertilizer being exported to Austria? It's only 210 convoys, so it's not a very big deal. You know, I mean, some of these things do add up, sure, but none of them add up by enough, I don't think. We just need more ships. Everything that we're importing or everything that we're using convoys for, I would say, are pretty essential. So we'll leave it as is and just hope that we're able to upgrade our ports sooner rather than later and make some changes there, as over here we have from the heart of the sea. A new admiral has presented himself at the ports of South Bengal, cheerfully acclaimed by his peers. However, the nephew of Nihal Dillon has also postulated that he has a most profound interest in the same title. There are stories, if one pays attention, that sound so impossible that they should belong in a novel. There was a kid, the sailors say, that started his life in a whaler and was one of the 8 men who managed to return from a terrible, terrible trip. For years, no one knew where he was. He wouldn't talk, refused to look a man in the eye. He then served in 6 different whalers and brought them all home safe and sound. The men will follow him, or we shouldn't make a Dillon upset. If we do so, what happens? The landowners will gain a new admiral, which will improve their approval rating, but also their pop attraction, while radicalizing the laborers in South Bengal. But if the men will follow him, the laborers in South Bengal will be more loyalist, and the trade unions will get a new admiral, improved approval, and also improved pop attraction, which, you know what? First of all, I like the sound of that. Second of all, mechanically, that works in our favor too. So yes, the men will follow him. Good stuff. We do want our trade unions to be a little bit stronger, right? They have not been as powerful as I would like them to be, but we'll keep an eye on that. And Dillon and Navala are both active, it seems, so we haven't lost Nihal Dillon. We'll just have to keep an eye on how we use all of our ships, because I believe Banda Nalwa is probably in North India. Yes, he is. So it's not that many ships, but maybe he can provide an escort or something here and there, right? We'll see what he can do as our radical count continues to go higher and higher. I think, yes, because of the two political movements we have on hand, and maybe because of decreases in standard of living as well. Why are we seeing such a huge hit? We should really take a look perhaps at... I don't even know, clothes, luxury clothes. I mean, these have become cheaper and more affordable. We could take a look at luxury furniture. That's affordable. Everything is pretty affordable. Furniture as well. What if we take a look at our population over here and see what they're complaining about? Because yes, these guys have lost some standard of living. My goodness, what's going on here? Clothes. Clothes seems to be the issue. Clothes and furniture and opium. Fair enough. What about over here? We have clothes, luxury furniture, porcelain. All right. And what about the upper strata? These guys are looking at luxury furniture, porcelain, luxury clothes. All right. So clothes, furniture, porcelain seems to be kind of the name of the game right now. Clothes, furniture, and porcelain. So the glassworks in North Bengal will go ahead and upgrade to, let's say, level 20. That will produce a lot more porcelain. As far as clothes are concerned, we can take a look at the textile mills here in Balochistan and perhaps get these guys expanded up to level 20 as well. That should be nice and helpful, and they are using the right production methods, so that's all well and good. Separately, we could also take a look at further improving our iron mines. Man, Punjab, what's going on here? Is it more because of infrastructure? No, infrastructure is actually okay now. So it really is a matter of needing, yeah, more iron mines. So let's go ahead and expand them over in Delhi, I suppose. Let's get these guys up to level 25, maybe. That'll do the trick, at least temporarily. And we'll see how all that plays out. Obviously, again, all this will not happen at the same time, but I'm trying to queue it all up so we don't have to keep double checking and triple checking. Now, some textile mills will be done shortly, and we've actually queued up a few more on top of that, as you just saw. But I'm really hoping to bring those prices down to, yeah, prevent this uptick in radicalization. It's a little unfortunate to see, and I would really like to again switch this around. We've hit 3 million radicals once more, though again we've also hit 4 million loyalists, as we've also hit the age of information. As the secret police gains traction, many of our people have expressed concerns about their privacy. I have the right to not exist, a worried citizen has reported to the journal. This is unheard of, an outrage. The lack of accuracy that this information may bring. Imagine being accused of a crime you didn't commit just because they have put you in the wrong list, the wrong ideology, the wrong background. Well, they may have a point. This will please the intelligentsia, and it will actually add some support to the No Home Affairs political movement, or we can assure them that they have nothing to worry about. Yes, the intelligentsia will be a little upset, and they'll stop, even having this minor positive vibe that they have right now. But overall, we'll see the enactment time get reduced and success chance get increased as well, which I think is okay. It'll add to the radicalization, though, which is a little bit of a bummer. But there's not much we can do about that. Maybe the secret police wasn't the best idea, but again, having patriotic fervor is huge, especially when these guys are powerful, right? This is much higher than it would otherwise normally be, so I can't really say no to that either, as this is all looking very fantastic too, my goodness. And finally, we're making a bit of a dent in the investment pool, which is nice to see when we have a full stack of construction fully dedicated to using the investment pool's money. So that's at least promising. It's interesting to see as well that our innovation generation is actually seemingly beyond our innovation cap, which is why as our literacy has been going up for the last little while, we see these two numbers matching without us actually needing to build more universities. So that's promising. Hopefully it makes tech move a little bit faster over the next handful of years, as we are, yes, preparing for war against Great Britain, right? And perhaps not just getting rid of some of their puppets, but war on British soil specifically. So the faster we can tech up, the more comfortable I'll feel on that front. But that, of course, relies heavily on additional, increased literacy and the increased innovation that comes with it. To that end, of course, we can take a look at upping our education investment level to level 3 over here. Again, it'll take about 50 weeks to do, and if we get the secret police at the same time, we'll be in a bit of trouble as far as bureaucracy is concerned, in which case we will, yes, need to involve ourselves and the government in building more government admin buildings. On the topic of involving ourselves, it seems as though Great Britain is trying to push people around again, this time Morocco. Really? You want to conquer inner Morocco while humiliating Spain? Now listen, my heart is with Morocco. I lived there for 3 very formative years, and I'm going to try and set my personal biases aside, but let me tell you, I'm very tempted to dive in and help Morocco stay away from Great Britain's grip, right? And besides that as well, of course, we are always going to try and go toe-to-toe with Great Britain. They have their 70 battalions. That means nothing against us, though of course their fleets might cause us some trouble. Now, they are confident on this side, Morocco, so that's promising at the very least. And again, are we able to join in? We are. So that truce, I guess, only applies when we're directly involved. Feel free to correct me if I've got this wrong. But previously, it used to be that you couldn't even join a diplomatic play against someone you have a truce with. So I'm not sure why this is allowed, but I will very much weigh in if this shakes and if the French don't dive in. Then I will certainly dive in. The French might have a vested interest in Morocco here as well, so we'll see how that plays out. But we want to make sure that these guys don't back down before they're given an opportunity, right, to succeed. Oh, would you look at that? Austria got involved. Now they're getting fully cocky. Okay, not who I expected, but you know what? I'll toss my hat in the ring. Sure. I was expecting France, but hey, you know what? Sure. Let's do it. I don't want to be the last one to join. I don't want to be too late to join. The more I can scare Great Britain, the happier I'll be. My goodness. Just grinning with glee right now. I'm so pleased with how this is playing out. So it looks like war might actually break out. And if it does, I want to make sure my troops are in position before their troops are. So let's go ahead and mobilize our buddy Dalip Singh over here. And let's also mobilize our friend Jassa Singh Dogra. Make sure they get some action in. I'm tempted to mobilize the Maharaja himself as well, Karak Singh. Give him an opportunity at some action. But for the time being, let's leave him back and let's just see if these 40-odd troops are enough to make a difference by defending the front over here. Right, and perhaps even defending the front up over here, though it looks like Morocco has maybe the advantage, and Spain's involved as well, right? So that'll be interesting. Where is our good friend Jassa Singh Dogra? Get him, yes, defending up over here. Sure. Just acting as backup, and if push comes to shove, I'll very much start pushing and shoving. Trust me, I will. All right, now as some of these paper mills complete within the next, week and staff up over the next couple of weeks, hopefully we'll see the actual cost of paper to the government drop. We're at 115K there, which is ridiculously huge. Hopefully, yes, that does drop to a much more reasonable number. Already seeing it drop to 108, a bit more employment at the paper mills. I think we'll tip it further down, get it below that extra digit, maybe, hopefully, sometime soon. We'll see. As over here, the countdown to war is very close to blowing up into, a full-fledged war. So what's going on over here? 19 days before Dalip Singh arrives, and up over here, about, how many days before we arrive up over here? Hang on a second, where's Buddy? Well, war with Great Britain has broken out, and are all of our generals in position? Jassa Singh Dogra, you are here somewhere, Eastern Andalusia, Marrakesh front, and yet I do not see him down over here, so I'm not sure what's going on, but I'll trust him to actually be here. As down over here, is anybody making an aggressive move? Yeah, the British are trying to advance along with some of their puppets. Fair enough, and up over here as well, I wouldn't be surprised if we're seeing actually advances on both sides, whereas Spain is making a move, of course, for Gibraltar. Of course, I should have seen that coming. Not that they're going to actually take it, though. It's just British war reparations that the Moroccans are chasing, and it looks as though war support is going to be dwindling faster on Great Britain's side than on Morocco's side. So that's all well and good, as the first battle of this war has kicked off, and Morocco seems as though it's actually going to lose. And where is Jassa Singh Dogra? He's not actually here, is he? Let's go ahead and get... Oh, I see. I didn't notice the day count there. Fair enough, because, typically it shows up, like, on the list here as well, traveling 5 days, but over here, it doesn't say he's traveling either. Nonetheless, it's okay. We'll lose one battle, but hopefully we'll turn around after that, and hopefully with the Spanish assistance, we'll be able to overcome the British threat. Well, it seems as though the Spanish are having an absolute field day against the British. I mean, they were significantly outclassed as far as these numbers are concerned, but they absolutely destroyed the British army over here, so that's promising at least. Whereas down south over here, doesn't seem as though there are any battles. Oh, there we go. One's just kicked off, and my goodness, Algeria is absolutely pummeling the British army over here. This is great stuff. Cool. Yeah, again, I would like to see a victory over here. I was robbed down south over here. Hopefully we can get the victory up over here, just as we did with Canada, though that played out a little differently than expected. My goodness, how beautifully did that work out, right? Construction continues at a decent pace. We are hopefully now going to see glassworks get completed and porcelain prices get brought down, as at the same time trench works has been completed as well. And unfortunately, because we're in the middle of a war right now, I'm not going to change our barracks, but our conscription centers can perhaps change, while the hand-cranked machine guns have been unlocked as well. This is beautiful stuff. Let's go ahead and take a look at our conscription centers. Yes, get them using trench infantry because they're not actually active, so we're not actually forcing troops to suffer the huge negative to their offense and defense from that equipment adjustment, whereas again our barracks are up front, so I should probably avoid switching all of them over. Then again, though, I suppose in Punjab, in Kashmir, in Pashtunistan, we can get the changes done. In North and South Bengal as well, let's get them switching over, whereas everything in South India should avoid those changes. So Sindh and Balochistan can switch on over too, as can Punjabi Rajputana, and Delhi as well. I believe I've covered all my bases, and when this war is done, we'll switch everybody over and hopefully keep that chaos in check, while we should also consider what technology comes next. Now, from a military perspective, again, I'm tempted to chase after floating harbors because that'll allow us to upgrade our ports. It'll take just 16 months because, again, not only is it a cheaper technology, but we've also improved our innovation generation, right? We're now, with literacy paired, we're at 110.8 per week, which is not bad. So 16 months, that's not terrible at all. Or we could pursue defense in depth. It'll take 3 years, followed by something like concrete fortifications, perhaps. Or if we get the bolt-action rifle, which will take 3 years, we can get the automatic machine gun, which is very helpful. Machine gunners in barracks and conscription centers will make a huge difference to our defense and to our kill rates, so that's very tempting. But of course, getting there will take a fair bit of time, right? 3 years plus 3 years, that's 6 years over here. We'll go ahead and do that after. Let's start with the floating harbor and hopefully secure some more convoys, right, with the upgraded ports. That'll be, I think, quite helpful in the short and long term, while we're busy with this existing war already, right? This is unfortunate. It seems as though the British have actually started pushing back a little bit, and if we take a look at the details over here, the script has most certainly flipped. See, this is what I mean. Just because it looked promising at first doesn't mean it'll stay promising, and this is largely because I think of inferior technology and all that good stuff. So that's very unfortunate. We'll see how that plays out. Meanwhile, up north over here, seems as though the Spaniards are having no issues dealing with the British, and in fact I do believe this front has already been closed off. No, it is actually still active in that direction. Okay, fair enough, that's all well and good. And at the same time, if we take a look at our own situation down over here, Jeune École has started to spread, and that'll allow us to upgrade our naval base a bit further. Not the biggest deal. I'm not really interested in doing that anytime too soon. I do believe our naval bases are at the level we need them to be for the end game that we're actually barreling towards, right? Oh, what do we have here? France and Spain going at it in North Africa. Oh wow, both chasing after treaty ports. This is quite the scramble, one might say. Do I want to lean in either direction between these powers? Truth be told, I don't think so. Let Europe burn, right? Like, this doesn't bother me. I don't want to upset France, obviously, and truth be told, Spain will probably back down. So let's not involve ourselves, but it is interesting to see the major powers in Europe starting to get a bit more involved. And if we take a look at the rank situation, actually, they're nowhere near each other. So that's interesting. And what's also interesting, I do believe Great Britain has lost quite a bit of prestige there. For a second, it was at 1300, and I just wonder if we've been making a big enough difference to them being the #1 producer of so many things. I wonder if we've become the #1 producer of a variety of these. I mean, if we take a look at sulfur, who's top dog here? Okay, well, it's not us, but we're not too far away either. We could further displace Great Britain. So sure, let's maybe invest a little bit in these sulfur mines. Again, not a top priority, but we can tack that on, right? And we've certainly nudged Great Britain down from the top 3 spots with regards to motor industries. That's huge. We're actually the #1 producer of motor industries worldwide, and now as a result of that, Great Britain's not getting any prestige from that. So we've made some hits over here from an economic perspective, which is great to see. We'll be making much bigger strides probably in the next session. I think we're going to have a very big war with Great Britain, which will make a very, very big change to the complexion of this screen over here, and I'm very excited for that. But of course, that I do think we'll have to wait until next session, just based on how involved we've been in so many different things, and I'm just not sure how our truces with Great Britain are actually going to play out because of our involvement across all of these various wars. 1899 is the date written here. We'll see what happens, as something's happening over here with regards to crooked connections. This is an unfortunate situation. More use of personal connections within the state apparatus. We could say time is of the essence, further upsetting the intelligentsia. These guys are going to start getting more and more angry, and they're going to hurt our prestige if it gets too far. No, we must do this by the book or not at all. Gotta have some moral compass, right? Well, this war has gone interestingly. The northern fronts have all been closed off, whereas the southern front is seeing some success for British forces. Can I bring Jassa Singh Dogra in to advance the front down over here? It'll take him 60 days to come here, which is unfortunate. He could have just walked down from here to here, but no, instead he decided to take a boat all the way to South India, and now he's going to take a boat all the way to the inner Morocco-Marrakesh front. Very well. I don't know if I want to get Dalip Singh advancing the front. He is a pretty solid defender. As a trench rat, he gets a bit of a bonus there. So let's keep him defending and hopefully prevent the further incursion of the British in South Morocco over here. What is that doing to war support? I'm not a fan of that. Negative 1.36 versus negative 2.78. So the British side is still losing war support a bit more quickly. However, if we take a look at peace, it doesn't look like anyone's interested in peace just quite yet. And you know what? Apparently, I'm a negotiating partner as well. So this time, I'll actually be asked before seeing this war come to an end, which is nice and promising, and just good to know that we'll be able to make a difference and an impact. All right, plenty of glassworks buildings about to be completed, plenty of textile mills about to be completed too. I really hope to see the standard of living go higher and higher over here. Looks as though we are making some differences. Seems as though there's an uptick there. I do believe there's an uptick here as well, and we certainly saw this go up to 12. So that's all very promising, as lots of moves are being made over here. Like Austria's joined in, it looks like. We've got Portugal joining in alongside Spain. The Great Qing are actually joining in alongside Spain too. My goodness, this is wild. Let them all go at it. Let them fight. Let them die. I have my own business to attend to, as here there is a boiler explosion. A factory in Punjab has been rocked by a tremendous boiler explosion with dozens dead or injured. The story of this tragedy has quickly become a national event. The scalding steam rushed out of the burst boiler and into the faces of men on the shop floor. If the blast itself or the flying debris didn't get them, then the steam surely did. We could say industry itself is a cancer, appeasing the rural folk. Workers should not be exploited and forced into such conditions, helping the trade unions grow. Or we could appease the industrialists, saying this is just a matter of progress. No, workers should not be exploited and forced into such conditions. Come on now. Come on now. They must be taken care of. They are the very gears that move us towards the future. Great Britain is absolutely making a mockery of the two Sicilies. All these useless generals from all these useless nations trying to put up a fight. Perhaps I should have flipped Dalip Singh into advance, but it's fine, it's fine. We have Jassa Singh Dogra arriving in just a couple days' time, and hopefully he'll turn things around over here and actually get us the advantage, get those provinces back, right? So we are advancing the front as well, and let's just see how much of a difference this actually makes. Hopefully we'll see some success here. Oh no, we're gonna get wrecked. That's unfortunate. It is unfortunate. We just don't have the numbers here, despite the battalions we've provided. We, of course, are not able to bring all of them to the front. I suppose we could try to keep defending, but if they keep picking a fight against these other generals, then there's nothing we can do about that, right? So maybe we'll flip to defend just a little bit longer and just try and cause a bit more damage before we dedicate ourselves to this advance. We could also get perhaps some of our ships coming over here and raiding convoys, maybe causing some issues. If we take a look at this shipping lane over here, the British are relying on this to provide, I'm sure, their military movements in the Western Sahara and Inner Morocco regions. So yeah, let's go ahead and send, you know what, Nahal Dillon, let's get you raiding convoys up over here, and maybe that'll be enough to bring their morale all the way down, prevent them from supplying their troops, and ultimately that'll get them constantly losing battles. It's very important to stay on top of supply because it can make a very big difference. It's also important for us to stay on top of our construction because, again, we have plenty of room here that we're just not taking advantage of. So if we take a look at our market again, just to see what's more expensive and what's less expensive, my goodness, We are building a lot of iron mines right now, so we'll hold off on upgrades to them because this number might change very soon. But apart from that, what else can we adjust? I mean, I suppose we could chase after more groceries. Sure, let's do that. Let's go ahead and expand the food industries in Delhi a little bit further, up to, let's say, level 20. And apart from that, if we take a look at the needs of the people, it's all luxury furniture and porcelain. Are you for real? Like, how much of that could you need? My goodness. What about these guys? Luxury furniture and clothes. Okay, porcelain's a bit lower for them. And these guys need clothes and furniture. So furniture and clothes, because again, those sort of double up, right? So let's go ahead and find clothes. Go ahead and expand the textile mills where in Balochistan a little bit further. No, maybe we can focus elsewhere. Why don't we go ahead and sure, hit up Punjab a bit more, get these guys up to level 20, and we should probably consider the railways over there as well, while we also take a look at furniture manufactories where in Madras. Sure, let's get these guys built up to level 20 as well, and hopefully that'll make enough of a difference and uplift our people, right? But yes, we should definitely consider the railway up here in Punjab, where I'm almost certain the infrastructure is having some trouble. So let's go ahead up to level 26 and let's just take a peek over here to see. Oh, you know, we're actually okay though with the upcoming construction. I'm sure this will change. So let's go ahead and build those railways. Again, we haven't prioritized them necessarily. They are at the bottom of the queue, and by the time we get there, I'm sure we'll actually need them too. But some of these iron mines are now being completed. Hopefully we'll see a shift in prices there, as these tools are ridiculously expensive, as are dynamite. So why don't we go ahead and expand chemical plants? Go ahead and prioritize them though in Bombay. Let's get these guys up to level 10 and try and keep some of these businesses profitable. Sorry, I meant up to level 15. By upgrading it by 10 steps. And I suppose the tooling workshops can be upgraded too over here in Madras. Let's get these guys up to level 20 and prioritize that too, because we can see right here how much of a difference that's making to some of our iron mines especially, right? So let's try and stay on top of that, as what's going on with this war. Looks as though the British are still losing war support faster than the Moroccans are, which is promising. We have more battles kicking off over here, and it seems as though we're being defeated as well, despite the higher defense here, and despite this matching line at first. Their recovery rate really helped them out there, didn't it? What happened there? My goodness. What kind of technology are they rocking? And should I be concerned? That's the bigger question. Should I be concerned that they are using, machine gunners? Yes, I should be. That is scary. That is scary. We're going to have to do something about that, because that's going to cause us trouble when we try to hit them, right? So fair enough. You know what? After this floating harbor is done in 9 months' time, we very much have to focus on whatever gives us sort of an equivalent advantage, right? If it's machine gunners, so be it. If it's flamethrowers, fair enough. Whatever it might be, we need something to counteract their increased defensive capabilities. That is a real bummer, but we'll be fine. We'll be fine. We'll manage. As over here, it looks as though the two Sicilies are actually coming out on top. You know what? I take back all the trash talk from just a few moments earlier, push them back, and let's see a glorious victory over here. My goodness, I'll be so pleased. Well, this is fun. We're actually sinking British convoys. We're also sinking convoys of the New South Welsh. That's causing some damage over here. It should be hurting their supply, which means that if we take a look at their armies, we should see their, yes, morale capped at a lower number than 100%, and that makes a very big difference. If this reaches 0, this war will turn around right away, because then anytime a battle kicks off, they will immediately lose, and that means victory for us. So this is huge, and that's why having a naval presence is actually important, and this is just further proof that yes, Punjab rules the waves. This is good stuff. I couldn't be more pleased with how this is playing out, though. I gotta be honest, this isn't nice. What happened here? They're not so... Oh no. No. How does this make any sense? This is a different war. Why would this spread in this direction? That's so foolish. The French have pushed into Morocco because Morocco got involved in this other war between France and Spain, and now they've been occupied by the French, and so their war support has dropped, and in a way it makes sense because, you know, do the people actually care which war has resulted in their occupation? No, they're tired of war. But such a huge advantage has now been thrown aside, and there is nothing we can do about it. Wow. So the British are going to come out on top because of French aggression. They have helped their nemesis. My goodness. All right, well, at least we are making some moves over here as well. And you know what? It's time for us to go on the front foot. We need to push here. We need to push here. I will make whatever difference I can. We will kill as many of their soldiers as we can before this war comes to a complete end. I cannot believe this. I should have gotten involved as the French just obliterate the Moroccan defenders over here. All right, well, we'll see what we can do over here. Two Sicilies are also making some moves again with their morale lower too. It'll be easier for victory on our side of the war. It's just a bit of a bummer that it's going to be a loss in the grand scheme of things. My goodness, my goodness. But hey, on the bright side, this was pretty fun. That we got to damage some of their shipping lanes and cause some hurt. That was exciting, really, right? These guys have been given the standby order. Previously advanced front. Oh, did this front get closed down? I guess so. Well, that's it for this war, folks. Unfortunately, the French aggression over here is what's going to cost us ultimately. Though we did manage to force Brazil to capitulate before the war was actually lost. I'll go ahead and take that. Tunis as well. All right. I think it's largely because they're occupied by the French too right now, but hey, it is what it is. Not necessarily our own war. We were just trying to support another just like us, I suppose. Oh, would you look at that? We've actually managed to drain the entire investment pool. Well, that's exciting. I was wondering how long it would take for that to happen. Now, is that because it's... no, it's actually still growing at a decent rate, so it is still continuing to assist the government in all these construction endeavors, but maybe eventually we'll, take it a little easy, let the investment pool grow a bit further. We'll see how it all plays out, but we just have to be careful because we don't want to waste money building things that we could be getting for free, as here Morocco has capitulated and Inner Morocco has been taken by the British. That is such a shame. That is such a shame. Man, we tried our best. There's not much more we could have done than that. I did enjoy getting involved, at least, as these backroom dealings have been exposed, causing us trouble with regards to the secret police. This is the nature of politics. It would make justicing Dogra rather unpopular. It'll also reduce the enactment success chance significantly, or we could throw him to the wolves and have to clean up this mess. It'll hurt our bureaucracy. It'll reduce enactment success chance by a lesser margin. So I'll take that on. Fair enough, I'll take that on. Though, of course, that might cause us issues if we actually pass the secret police. No, we'll be fine, because this will be gone then. That penalty will be gone. So I think we'll be okay. The Austrians are taking an interest in South India. I don't like that. Get out of here. Stop getting so involved. And meanwhile, the French, of course, have won their war as well, handily. No surprise there. And the Austrians were able to subjugate Tunis as well. That just means a new target for us to hit when the opportunity presents itself, right? And there we have it. Electrical generation has been unlocked. So, as I briefly mentioned earlier, this gives us access to power plants, which of course produces electricity, which can in turn be used for electric street lights in the urban centers, electric fences at livestock ranches, sawmills at logging camps. Like, this is huge. Of course, it's a bit of an investment, and we'll take a look at that investment as some of this construction gets done, because again, I do want to produce more clothes and furniture and all that good stuff to try and get some of our pops feeling a bit more uplifted, right? And we are making some moves. Like, I do feel as though we've seen some positive changes across the board here, though of course we're also seeing some positive changes across the board here too. I think that's largely now though because of the political movement. Yes, that does seem to be the major conversation, as increases in standard of living are making a big difference as well, both in terms of radicals and in terms of loyalists. Look at Balochistan though. It got a huge upgrade, didn't it? That's very nice to see. Good for them, I suppose. Notice that we are still at war with the British. What are we even fighting for here? Oh, I see. Because they want to humiliate us. I'm not interested in any of this. What do I? Do I want to strike at them? I notice we're still sinking their convoys, which is a good feeling, obviously. But do I want to stay involved in this fighting? Do I have any reason to dive in? I mean, I suppose I could cause them some harm. I could experiment and test things out. But I think I would much rather just save money here. Who would I be abandoning? Why am I the war leader? I mean, at this rate, Great Britain is going to see their war support hit -100 before we hit -100. So that's all well and good, though we have nothing to gain from victory here. I don't think we had the opportunity to add any war goals, so well, we didn't. And unfortunately, it seems as though we can't even force the... Oh, yes, we can. Again, it's that same old trick. Got to click set terms to white peace. They'll accept that. Why have more people suffer? Everyone's willing to end the fighting over here, and we'll save up some money because all of our conscripts and stuff can go home, right? So let's propose the peace deal, end the fighting. We have nothing, literally nothing to gain. Nothing's happening. Yes, end the fighting and just, chill a little bit. Recuperate some of our losses and lament Morocco's losses as well. That is really such a shame. We fought so hard and so well, but at the end of the day, yeah, you know what? The French came through and helped the British. And now what is this? Amazigh uprising. I don't think there's any point in getting involved. We've tried a few times now, and I think it's especially with an uprising, these guys will get shut down so quickly just because of their willingness to fight. So let's leave this be. As up over here, it seems as though the East India Company wants independence. Oh, funny how the tables have turned. Decline that. No, thank you very much. And let's also now go ahead and just check on our truce with Great Britain, which ends when? 1902. Yeah, so getting involved in these wars is expanding, or extending, I should say, our truce. So now it's in 1902 that we can actually declare our war, and you bet we will. You bet we will, because I most certainly am in a rush to crush the British. Granted, I will want to wait until some of our technology has been upgraded. At least in 2 weeks' time, we'll kick off the development of, I don't know, the bolt-action rifles so we can chase machine guns. Just not sure what to pursue to, again, counter their newfound military capabilities right in those machine guns. There we go. Floating harbors have been unlocked, so let's go ahead and pause for a moment as we head on over to development and our ports. And let's go ahead and build these guys up everywhere we can, and make sure they're actually prioritized, because I realized those first couple were not prioritized, so that was a mistake on my end. Let's go ahead and cancel that and prioritize that, and over here as well, cancel that and alt-click to prioritize. These guys will be done in, what, 15 weeks' time. They'll unlock so many more convoys for us, and that will then allow us to, yeah, just trade more and bring more goods in. But yes, what to do here. Defense in depth isn't going to help us when we're on the attack, right? That's only after we've, you know, made a beachfront or whatever might be a beachhead. Automatic machine guns require the bolt-action rifle. Again, that's 3 years plus 3 years. I just wonder what's worth chasing. Otherwise, we could do what? You know what? I feel like siege artillery might be very helpful over here. Plus 40 offense, plus 40% morale damage, plus 25% kill rate. Like, those are some big numbers compared to the automatic machine gun. The machine gunners are big numbers too, don't get me wrong, but that'll take, again, 3 plus 3 years, whereas this will take 16 months for military statistics and further reducing the cost of war, and then it'll take 3 years for war gaming. So technically it's just a slight bit faster, and I think it's worth more to have siege artillery and then eventually get the stormtroopers that's leading to as well for the extra benefits over here. So maybe that's the right call. I certainly hope it is, because we are, yes, gearing up for war in the next handful of years, and if we pick the wrong picks now, we're going to pay the price when that war kicks off, right? And I'll be honest with you, I'm a little nervous. I was very cocky at the beginning of this session, but I'm starting to grow a little more nervous now that they've got machine guns, which I'm pretty sure was a new development over the course of this session. Now, at this point in time, I'm going to let construction slow down ever so slightly, just so that we can get the investment pool growing a bit. Again, right now, they are covering some of our costs, and you know what? It looks as though we haven't done the best job in staying on top of their profitability, because the growth rate has slowed down by a significant enough amount that it makes me nervous. So perhaps we should actually take a look at some of these cash reserves and see what we can do to help balance some of these costs out, especially with the munitions plants. I mean, it looks as though they need some more lead mines, so why don't we go ahead and get these guys maxed out in Balochistan? Sure, we'll do that. Otherwise, what else do we have over here? Like, these guys are overall doing okay. Arms industries still need more iron and more hardwood. Can we import more hardwood from anywhere? The Russian market, let's go for it. And again, that's not going to need any convoys. What about iron? Can we import that from anywhere? The Russian market, let's go for it. Again, no convoys needed, plenty of supply. We can also import from the Qing market. Let's absolutely go for it and try and bring some of these prices down, right? Because it is causing us some trouble behind the scenes. It's not immediately apparent, but with a little bit of investigation, you can see how much of a difference it makes. As over here in Delhi, it seems as though we have some infrastructure troubles kicking in. So why don't we go ahead and prioritize, yes, the railway over here. Go ahead and get you up to level 5, let's say. I believe the first click was not a priority, and that's fine, because I do still want to prioritize the ports, make sure they get done in 2 weeks, so that's okay. We'll have 4 of these and whatever, 5 or whatever of these, that's okay. But over here as well, the motor industries are, yeah, completely worthless, because steel is so expensive. So can we import steel, perhaps, from Russia? Yes, we can. We'll do that, but I do think that's not enough still. I do think we'll have to further expand our steel mills too. So over here in Punjab, let's go ahead and crank you up to, let's say, level 20 total. Cool. Hopefully that'll help. Just not sure again about the revenue and all that over here. I know I misclicked there, so let's head on over to here, bring that back down. We look okay. Yeah, we look fine. Yeah, that number was just scaring me. That menu always is just set up to scare you, I swear to God. But overall, we're feeling okay, I think, about the investment pool with some of those changes I just made, hopefully. Hopefully that number doesn't keep skipping on downwards. And at the same time, up over here, the French are trying what now? Yet another attempt at annexation. It's okay. We can't get involved over here. We do not want to deal with the French. They will cause us nothing but sadness. So let's keep them at an arm's length over here, as yeah, some of this construction is completing, and hopefully it's going to make a big difference as we once more fail at enacting the secret police. How wild is it that this has been at 30+% for so long, and it continues to just not pass despite our best efforts? It is time now for the Maharaja to intervene. The Maharajas will be done. The intelligentsia will be very upset at us. Not enough to enact social criticism, but it's getting very close. But we need to do this. The Maharajas will be done. We need to get this through and just have that conversation be over with. Good stuff. The camera's been unlocked. That's going to help us with some prestige. And apart from that, it unlocks additional technology and production methods for arts academies that we don't have yet. But I'll take the extra prestige, and we'll see what starts spreading towards us next. Again, we have very little control on that front, right? So there's no use crying about it. Though identification documents is definitely worth crying tears of joy over, because that increased taxation capacity is going to be very nice. And I very much look forward to finally having this. We already invested in it a little bit because of an event from a long time ago. So we'll see how this plays out as we wait for some of these guys to get done before we investigate, yes, additional options as far as using that investment pool is concerned, because it is now filling up again at a decent enough rate. So we can certainly start tapping into it, right? Again, if we take a look across the board over here, things are looking pretty good. That went from 12 to 12.2, right? Previously it was in the 11s. This is also looking pretty positive overall, and I believe same thing over here as well. The prosperity is all right. These guys actually seem as though they might be trending down. What do we got? Luxury furniture, porcelain, luxury clothes. That, again, still the vast majority of needs, eh? So short, let's go ahead and build up some more of these bad boys, I suppose. Expand furniture manufactories where down in Madras. Short, let's get these guys cranking. Yeah, let's get you up to level 30 perhaps. Maybe that'll do something. And clothes as well. If I can find clothes, let's go ahead and expand textile mills up here in Balochistan perhaps. Get these guys up to level 25 and see if that does enough. I don't think it is. I don't think it's going to do enough. So down in Madras, let's get these guys up to level 20 as well. Again, the reason why I'm spreading this is, yes, I am sacrificing some of the throughput, but don't forget that this urbanization is helping increase the urban center sizes, and these guys are then further producing services for people in the nation as well, and services are also extremely expensive, so we do need more services to be produced in more places too, right? It's like we do want to spread the love, as I keep saying. Meanwhile, we have concerns being raised by the landowners. Landowners need to shut up and sit down. That's what they need to do. Reduce their political strength. They need to accept that we cannot always please them. Not about everyone, but them specifically. Goddamn. Meanwhile, it seems as though some accomplishments need recognizing, and we will of course recognize the worker. It'll upset the industrialists and the landowners, but it'll help grow the trade unions, so let's go ahead and recognize the workers, yes. Alright folks, just taking a look at supplementing some of our own industries, just because of the heightened prices of some of these goods that so many people want. I'm going to try and import some porcelain. I suppose we could get some from the Russian market. Sure, again, it doesn't take any convoys, so that's very helpful. We could also take a look at importing maybe some clothes. The British market is quite giving on that front. What about luxury clothes specifically? If we take a look at these bad boys, if we try to establish an import route, not as giving with this. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. How about luxury furniture? If we try to establish an import route, nope, no luck there. And how about regular furniture, if I can find that really quickly? We'll see, nope, not too giving there either. We'll leave it be, because again, those convoys can be put to better use elsewhere. Just trying to stay on top of the growing demands, right? Because of course, as more people transition into middle and upper strata, their demands increase because they're piling on to these demands, right? So that's why it's a constant struggle, so to speak, and it's rather difficult to try and keep some of these people moving upwards when they're already close to the top. Unfortunately, that situation continues or also exists with the lower strata, and we just can't get them happy enough, it seems as though. I mean, we've got so many textile mills going and everything at the same time, but it's just not making enough of a dent. However, with the completion of all this construction, there has been enough of a dent made with regards to the investment pool's growth. Is that called a dent? I suppose that's a bump. And we'll go ahead and double down on spending all that money, as well as military statistics has been completed, which is all well and good, because with that done, I actually have now come to a fork in the road. Do I want to chase after wargaming, as I was initially planning to get that siege artillery, which by and large, I think mainly adds to our morale damage output while sacrificing some of our kill rate. I wish I could do a side-by-side comparison, but if we take a look at our barracks over here, we can see the current use of shrapnel artillery already has plus 30, plus 30, plus 20, plus 30. You can see those numbers there, whereas siege artillery goes plus 40, plus 30, right? And then plus 40%, so a bit more morale damage, a slightly lower kill rate, actually, and of course, much higher devastation, just as we compare these two tooltips. So is that really the right call, or do we instead go chasing after NCO training, which will take 10 years? So, you know, it'll take a fair bit of time compared to what we would have got with the automatic machine gun, and then perhaps chemical warfare after that or something. But it'll take 10 years to get NCO training done, and that, though, will unlock for us squad infantry, which gives us plus 55, plus 65 as far as offense and defense is concerned, compared to plus 40 and plus 60. So that's a big bump to offense, right? That's a plus 15 to offense, which is a direct counter to the plus 25 to defense on the machine gunners, right? Just not sure if it's the right call, or if I should change my plan, or if I should stick to the original plan. And at the same time, I am able, I think, to build a few more universities to pursue the increased innovation cap due to our increased literacy. So there's a few things going on that front. We are in the last year of the 1800s, which is very exciting as well. And it seems as though there's an accidental discovery and inefficient agriculture to deal with as well at the beginning of next time. Folks, I would love to hear your thoughts on which technology we should pursue and when we should seek out this war with Great Britain. Again, we do have a truce with them for some time yet. It will be over in just 3 years' time, so hopefully that's actually next session, early on next session, that we kick that war off. And of course, if we do the math, 3 years would say that the technology we should chase is in fact wargaming, because it'll at least be done in time for us to declare that war, and we won't have to wait until NCO training is done, right? So that is something to consider as well. I would, again, love to hear your input on that front, and I'll plot and ponder myself as well as we continue to see some good progress as far as radicalization and loyalists are concerned as well, and some very good progress as far as the development of our nation overall too. Just taking a look at the markets, these prices are a lot more manageable right now. Sure, there's things like tobacco that stand out, but by and large, things are either cheap or you know, middling prices. Though we do, yes, still have to keep on top of things like now silk and hardwood, wine apparently, and I guess there is some demand now for fine art in the Punjabi market too. Very exciting stuff, as we also need to invest in infrastructure in places like Madras. Of course, we have overdone it, as tends to be the case, so why don't we go ahead and do that before we forget. But apart from that, yes, a lot more industrialization and enlightenment to come, alongside a bloody and brutal war, I think, if all goes to plan. Folks, I hope you enjoyed this session. If you did, you know what to do. Let me know down below by leaving a like and a comment. And as always, of course, a massive thanks goes out to all of the channel members and patrons who've been supporting the channel on a monthly basis. Y'all keep us alive and running smoothly. And of course, a big old thanks goes out to each and every one of you for watching. Until next time, cheers.